doom fell. Renato felt worse than he ever had. It was killing him. Again. The council members caught... "You saved us!" croaked the speaker. His core deep in a cavern, she promised, where his poison could harm no one. Lead one. I'll lead the charge. "It will kill you," croaked the speaker. "I guess it already has," Renato said. "When all this is over," she said, "we'll name our new capital city for you." He flew towards the Imperial fleet. A myriad ships in disciplined formation, waiting for the signal to destroy the rebellion forever. Behind him, the rebels were charging. If he failed, they would die. And so the final battle began.
Hello guys and gals, whoever's watching. What I basically did, I just continued the ending. Like, I just continued playing a bit, but I didn't really finish. Back to the ending grind. I went to get Lapino, and then I went for the core. Then I went to save Lipino again, because I gave Lipino the core, because because I'm smart like that. And then Lipino is now dead.
Poor Lapino had never been a great warrior. The mad rabbit was good for a lark and a laugh. And a pint. The thought of ravens eating him made Renato furious. The way they were eating up the land. The way the Emperor was eating up the people with his new, bloodthirsty ways. He would make them all pay.
I also upgraded the voice.
The new pathway made Renato curious.
Didn't really do much. Like, in the terms of what this game is about, I did basically nothing.
He had given up every objective to save his friend. He had given up the armature, the core, the gem, and even Zenobia. He loved Lapino, he realized. And now the rabbit was gone. A hero looks out for his friends, even when they're gone. He would send Lapino an honor guard of ravens to serve him in the halls of the Valens. He would avenge him. Surprisingly unwounded.
I'm getting healed slowly. I don't know, like I feel like I'm getting healed.
there was an inscription. Praised the sun. Finally, he reached the Emperor's ship. And there was Lapino, surrounded by ravens. He was alive!
Okay.
They'd eaten some other rabbit. "I'll save you!" he shouted with joy and flung himself at the ravens. "Aw, you shouldn't have," said Lapino when the last raven was down. Renato threw his arms around his best friend. "I had to come. I love you, man. You really, really shouldn't have," said Lapino. And Renato felt a rather sharp pain in his back. As he collapsed, Lapino took the dagger out of Renato's back and wiped it off on Renato's sleeve. "Why, you always have to be the hero. Brave Renato, epic Renato, super sexy Renato, and I'm sick of it." As Renato died, all he could think was, damn it, food again. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up, like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
This one was pretty good. I still gotta get this fruit.
The book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again, faster than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Renato knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong, but he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it, to take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
I'm gonna do this one.
The island was windswept desert. No one went there except ostriches and ostrich hunters. The Iblis stone. It would whisper promises in his ear, offering power for blood. But this time, Bernardo was sure he could master it. And so, Bernardo went ostrich hunting. Every child could sing verses about the Sky Ripper, but ancient codices held hints of other things. A ruby that drank blood, a jewel only a righteous man could give away. Were all these things the Iblis stone? Long hidden in a buried temple? Another ancient item that was only resurfacing now? Drawn up from the deeps by the Emperor's horrific rituals?
So what I'm gonna do this time is I'm gonna get the stone, then I'm gonna go to the core, and then from the core I'm going to go to scientist.
You shouldn't have.
And then from the scientist I'm gonna go to the mountain. For 100 how much do I have?
What was he doing here? Last time, the stone had fought him for possession of his own soul.
Already
here, cawing in frustration. They were still searching for a way in. Good. Then he hadn't come too late.
When they said, oh, that's surprising, I was like, oh, I'm getting healed because of Lupino's soul or some bullshit like that. I was not. I was getting utterly fucked.
Cool. Wish I could do that.
Maybe we'll go to the platinum.
If only he had some way to break the ice. Or convince it he was a friend.
By sticking a sword, an ice sword into it. Really.
There was a pleasant breeze coming through that door. Had it been closed before? There had to be some way to use the Iblis stone. It was old, wasn't it? People are so much cleverer now. And Renato was pretty sure he was cleverer than most people.
Double.
Na. Hey, goodbye.
I don't even know that song. I just don't. I don't know, that barely does any damage, so...
The Ravens at least could not get past this point. Obviously the temple builders knew how to deal with Tomb Raiders.
Again, I keep thinking that's a reference to Tomb Raider. But I don't know. Because usually anything that's with Tomb Raiders nowadays I associate with Tomb Raider.
This thing
Laura Croft.
really needed a roof.
Laura. And I'm already at the end of the level, so...
It was a stone of the purest blackness. It reflected no light, like a void made solid. Nervous, he picked it up. Who said that?
I mean, we've already seen this.
It was the stone.
3 times, so...
Eager, thirsty. That seemed tempting and terribly wrong. Zenobia was the Emperor's greatest general and a potent witch. But they had been close once, and he had a sneaking suspicion the gem would try to control him. Why not capture the core of Sky Ripper instead?
That's what I'm gonna do.
It was the eye of a lost god, torn out by the transcendent Emperor to power his greatest weapon. Not the core, said the stone anxiously. But even though Renato knew how evil the gem was, he had a clever plan for dealing with it.
I'm gonna go with the core because if you want to see what happened here, just watch the last part. Where you basically just die. That's literally it. It tells you have died, and you gotta start from the beginning of the level.
The stone bothered him. He hated being told what to do. Wasn't that why he joined the rebellion? Wasn't that why he'd refused to be a soldier? He'd agreed to come on board only if he could freelance. The stone felt a bit clingy, and he had a feeling it did not have his best interests at heart. The sage Calaveras had told him where to find the Sky Ripper, a weapon capable of challenging the gods. Even without its armature, the core would still possess great power. He would go there.
Okay, well then. Stretch. Sorry, I just woke up. So, stretch.
The moment he landed the Farfarer, Renato had a rare feeling of regret. It's not too late, he thought. He could turn around and sail for Zenobia's island. He frowned. Wait a minute. He didn't want to kill Zenobia, did he? Sure, technically she was the enemy, but they'd been at Sword Fu school together. They'd never been lovers, but somehow they'd been closer. She'd told him every secret about herself. Except the biggest one. That she was the Emperor's daughter. No. Kill Sylvia, whispered the stone. Before it's too late.
I'm not gonna do that, bruh. I mean, like, the straight one is if you do what the stone wants you to do. Basically, it's just an old god that comes back, and basically the time ends. That's it. That's the long and short of it.
No wonder his mother had told him to eat his fruit.
Oops. Sword. Treasure hunter, though. I don't know what rare loot we're talking about. There's not that many. Not that much loot in this game, period. I'm just gonna scroll through this because I don't know if I read it. But like... Okay.
Danced around the room yelling, oh yeah, that's how we do it. It was something he liked to do, but only after he'd killed all the witnesses.
Well then. Where do I even go? This way. This seems inviting.
You almost never saw wild gogglers together like this. The toads had to train them not to peck each other to death. So these had to be Imperial gogglers. That meant ravens were up ahead.
I mean, I did just fight like a
stone
couple of
hadn't
ravens.
lied about what it could do for him. With each raven he cut down, he felt a jolt of power flowing into his arm. You're weak, whispered the stone. The call will kill you. Are you afraid of it? Don't be ridiculous. It chuckled. But it's unstable. It will poison you so much as carry it, and if you try to use it, it will explode catastrophically. Reynardo did not trust rocks that talked in his head. He went onwards. Of course there was a puzzle. You couldn't expect the transcendent Emperor to bury a god's eye in a leather sack where anyone could pick it up.
I mean, that'd be nice. I'm like already at the end, I think, so. I think I was wrong. No. Jesus Christ, that'd be too hard.
As he approached the core, the stone became hysterical. No, it's too much power. We will rip a hole in space and time. He had a sudden vision of plunging his gauntlet into the core and dying in anguish. That wasn't his vision, was it? The stone had sent him its darkest fears, hadn't it? He had a sudden impulse to do exactly that. He raised his right fist and plunged it into the core. There was a rush of light. He thought he could hear the stone screaming. And then he passed out. When Renato came to, the core was gone. But the Iblis stone was no longer black, but glowing with a blue light. And it was silent. "I can't hear you," he sang out. And, "You?" It didn't answer. "Ha!" he said. He had defeated the demonic gem with the power of his mind. He felt invincible.
Well,
It was
I
time
guess.
to attack the Imperial outpost on the Nexus. Take the battle to the enemy. But among the huge crystals, there was also an observatory. A wise man would probably ask the scientists exactly what he had first. How wise was he?
Like, I'm gonna do the top one.
As the
Just so that I
Farfarer
could do
made its way toward the Nexus,
something else.
Renato watched sparks fly out of the core. The Iblis stone sucked them in hungrily. You'd think the stone would want this kind of power, wouldn't it? Thought Renato. Well, the scientists would explain it all. This time, Renato was sure he'd figured out how to use the core safely.
He has not. Like, honestly, I don't know how to use the Sky Ripper, like, correctly. You put it together, sacrifice all your friends, but what then? Let's see. Let's not overthink this.
He'd trusted his gut, and it had worked out. That's what it meant to be a hero. To ignore the naysayers and the odd-makers, and do what you knew was right, and have it turn out to be the right thing. Well, he wasn't worried. Once he got to the observatory, the scientist toads could explain it. Then he could carry the war into the enemy's camp and destroy them all. Oh dear, he was getting a little bloodthirsty, wasn't he?
Because that's the stone talking. Nice. Dead. Oh, he's not dead.
Renato had never felt better in his life. Normally, a battle would wear him down and he would need a night's sleep. Now he felt like he could go all night and all day. He felt like people were cheering him on, and he could practically hear their applause as he slew one raven after another.
It's not good though. This is the ending, like, if I continue with it, just to be like, fuck it, let's fight the ravens at the end, that basically the stone doesn't turn into an old god, but it takes control of Reynardo. Just takes control of him.
Was closing in on the rebels, forcing
Instead
them
of
to come out and
ending
fight.
all time.
Renato was itching to bring the fight to the enemy. He had to remind himself not to be too reckless. Wow. The sword felt even colder.
Hanzo would like those. Technically Genji, but I'm pretty sure that reference was not headed towards Overwatch. time I realized I put it forward, I would always just dodge the second set. Oh, okay. Where's Andromeda? Jesus Christ, I need that master.
Ball, he thought.
Oh. Cool. Well, now I have every sword upgraded to the max. Pretty sure the trophy get every ending. 23 endings. Wait. Yeah, whatever.
The toads at the observatory measured the stone with their occult devices. I fed it the core of Sky River, explained Renato. No more feed blood and souls.
But the core is not an unlimited energy source,
said one toad. Another said,
there's a feedback loop, you see, which could overload the stone.
Yeah, the stone doesn't actually feed on souls, claimed a third.
But on pain of killing another sentient being. If you can truly be at peace with yourself, it would not overload.
This was all very confusing. At peace. Yes, the mountains were peaceful and quiet, but he now had the power to turn the tides. He should report to the Rebellion Council and prepare for the decisive
If you go
battle.
there, they're not there, but it's not because they've been captured or anything. It's because apparently Renato just killed them.
The toad arguments. Maybe the stone did not feed on blood, or souls, or rage. It fed on empathy. It fed on the pain he felt when he put an end to another being's existence. Even if that other being was a raven intent on killing him. If he could find peace, then he could use the power of the Ibla stone without being taken over by its evil. Yes, that was the way to defeat the Ibla stone. The mountains.
Isn't that canon?
He would go to the mountains. He could find peace there.
Huh. Well, let's hope this ends well. Because out of like the maybe 6, 7 endings that I have, none of them have ended well. Renato.
Unfortunately, the mountains were not empty. There were ravens everywhere. No matter. He had to fight, yes, but he didn't have to be angry. Parry, dodge, slash, and breathe. Yes. Focus on the rhythm, the dance of it, not on the blood or the raven's core as they died. Ah, it was working. He wasn't feeling those dark jolts of eldritch energy. He wasn't feeding the Iblis stone. Already, Renato knew more than he ever had. But about what?
I know more than I ever have. How would he know that? I mean, yeah, I guess.
Renato had always wanted a flying carpet. This was more like a flying tabletop, but it would do.
This way. I've never been this way though. Or went down the other path. This path. Damn. You wouldn't need anything would be as easy as I wanted it to be.
Welcome to Earth. Renato told the corpses. It was something he'd seen in a play once.
Yeah, Renato seems like the type of guy that would watch plays. Up to you to figure out whether or not I'm being sarcastic.
The stone was still silent. His mind was his own, and his heart too. He bore them no ill will, these ravens. They were doing their job. They were expressing their nature. Dance, whirl, parry, jab, and breathe. It was all so simple, wasn't it? Something was missing. He didn't feel truly at peace. Wait. Wasn't this near where Calaveras lived?
No.
The sage
No,
would help him
he might
figure
end
it
up
all
just
out.
killing Calaveras. Man, how do I get over there though? I don't know, there's two possibilities here. I can't even get back, so... That was not the way I was supposed to go. Damn it, I see it now. Next time. He might just end up killing Calaveras. Honestly, I have no idea, but like...
Ooh, sparkly, thought Renato.
Like, honestly, I don't know how this is gonna end, but like... You know. Handle choke. Well, more like cut in half, but I don't know what the proper way of saying that is. Going up. This is gonna end horribly, I feel.
Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway.
I need to get my sword energy. But I gotta get that sword food though. I've already been through there though.
The Iblis Stone, silenced by the Sky Ripper's core, had given Renato enough power to challenge the Imperial fleet. But what Renato was seeking was inner peace. The rebellion was on the verge of extinction, but it would have to wait. At the end of the mountain path, he found the wise Calaveras in his workshop. Do you fix souls or only artifacts? He asked the sage.
Does your soul need fixing?
Asked the sage. I've been killing a lot of ravens lately. he told the sage. You're a fox, said Calaveras. And to kill birds is part of your nature. Take joy in it. I mean, I might as well worry about eating flies. Would you like a fly? It was true. That's what he had forgotten. The joy. Now he was ready for the final battle. The Farfarer cut through the clouds. The air had never felt so sweet since he was a child. There it was. The dreaded Imperial fleet. He could smell wet hemp ropes ahead, wood and tar, and ravens. Even the fleet smelt good, somehow.
I'm so confused.
He was ready.
Did I even do anything?
He was ready.
Did I even help in any way by going to the mountain? Am I still gonna become possessed? I have no idea.
Renato had it all squared away in his head.
Show them the truth.
He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Renato. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Renato could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger, but it clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Renato would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain. Where did that go to?
I think it was before. A couple times. Yeah, I think Central Line. Oh, okay. Someone did not play test this game properly. I did. I don't know. It's pretty much the only bug.
Over here, right.
To be able to refrain for the speak empire. There is more for the grandfather by unit, the strength of easily. The rebels were destroyed. They were trying to spread lies about business and quality and pretend their power to share. This is going to be achieved through iron. This is like Machiavelli, Niccolo Machiavelli's book, The Prince. These principles are recorded as set by entire barbarity. Emperor Isengrim
Renato really liked the sound his sword made in the air.
Legit. Oh, I know. Okay.
Sometimes, at home, he'd wave his sword around for hours.
I'm a firefox, thought Renato.
Okay, print the main menu. Well then, time to go back the normal way. Jesus Christ, I don't even know what happened. Like, there was just no way off, I think. Honestly, I mean, I don't know if I was looking hard enough. I'd like to think that I wasn't, because I gotta give the game the benefit of the doubt, but, yeah. I tried, and that's the important part.
Renato had it all squared away in his head.
He would kill the Emperor. Isengrim III had begun well, but he had gone mad. He was trying to invoke the lost gods by means of dark, blasphemous rituals. That was a secret. But the victims had spoken to Renato. The ghosts had spoken. No. No anger. Renato could not afford anger. It was empowering the crystal in his sword. That made him stronger. It clouded his mind. He would not be a hero. A hero strives. Renato would just be one with everything. The Emperor would die, and the wheel would turn, and all would be restored without rancor, without sorrow, without pain.
Well then, I should just go back normally, because I think this part has some bugs and or glitches.
Oh, this really didn't have much in the way of safety features, did it?
Again, I don't know if I'm looking right. It does put me. But yeah, that's what I meant. God damn it. I'm like, why would I expect that?
The more he thought about it, and he had so much more time to think about it now that he was not worrying about the battle, killing the Emperor would not change anything. Another would take his place. Perhaps Zenobia. Perhaps the Speaker of the Rebel Council, and power would corrupt them too, and death would make grief, and grief would lead to hatred. he must lead by example. Reject the violence. Reject the desire to
Or you just want to talk to him.
But how?
What? What did he... What was it? Was that the sword? I don't know. You see the big trying to fight. Notice.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Funny that this whole war had come about because the Emperor feared death. And now it was coming for him. There was some sort of lesson there, wasn't there?
Okay, here we go. Let's see if holding that mountain changed anything at all.
Finally, he came to the Emperor's ship. The path behind him was strewn with dead ravens.
Okay,
The path
I get it.
to enlightenment.
I don't think this is
His
going to make any
mistake, he
difference.
realized, was trying to change the world. The world would spin and the wheel would revolve whether he strove against it or not. What he had to do was nothing.
Okay.
He had attained enlightenment. He sat down, adopted a full lotus position, and began to meditate. And all around him, the warriors
What?
stopped fighting too. They knew. They could feel his enlightenment. They gave up
What?
fighting, dropped their weapons, and became his disciples.
Yeah, right? Like,
Just
the
kidding.
fuck?
The nearest raven stabbed him with a sword and then chopped off his head. I might not have thought this through properly. Thought Renado's head as it rolled around the deck and died.
Well,
He should
then.
go back to some of the choices he'd faced before. Maybe there were new paths that had opened up. Like those doors he was opening up all over the map that took him to new treasures and around his enemies.
We'll trade it
And
over the
he
hippie.
hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 endings out of a possible 23. That's great. That's
The
great.
book's pages fluttered to the beginning once again. Faster than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced.
I'm just gonna go for the Sky Ripper.
Renata knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert. The Iblis stone was hidden there. It was a dangerous artifact. It could corrupt its user into a bloodthirsty monster. Maybe he could find a way to use it. To take its power without surrendering to its wickedness. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Renato had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Renato really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Well, guys and gals, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna go eat something. But I will be back. Same screen, but you already know I'm picking this ending. So yeah, I will see you soon again. Thank you and have a good day. Like, share, subscribe, do what you want to do. And yeah, I will see you soon. Cheers.